sto per intervistare Antonio Gambale, lui lavora nell'industria della colonna sonora, quindi più la parte di cinema, serie tv, insomma più la parte visiva della musica, e sono super curioso perché in realtà voglio proprio sapere com'è lavorare in quel tipo di industria, cosa che io sinceramente non so e che insomma mi incuriosisce tantissimo, quindi vedremo. Antonio, thank you for the interview. You work in the music business since a lot of years.
Yes.
Can you speak in general about your experience?
I started even earlier. My brother was working in like a big studio, and they needed somebody to do little music for TV. So while I was at university, I started. You know, a lot of my friends, while we were studying, they had a job like in a restaurant or a shop. You know, me, I had a job doing commercials. It was the 80s and the 90s. There was a real golden age of music and film. I think people don't quite realize how much music is part of why they have such strong nostalgia for those films.
Yeah, you know, I think
they just love them, but they don't really think that it's the music that really plays a big part.
Absolutely. I'm in love talking about cinema with the period of Novel Vague period.
Yes.
And I really love this music.
In that period as well, there was a very strong culture of director and composer. That now it's a lot more commercial. It's more for business.
Yeah, sure.
I think in that age, I was more interested in just creating something than learning.
I think that is a problem that most people, a lot of people have. Me too. I was just bored about all the theoretical parts, you know, harmonic parts.
Same.
Now I'm really interested in all that part that I just, I skipped at all. Yeah, absolutely. And now reading music in paper, you know, it's more art.
Yeah, and for me, now that I work in film, we have to do a lot of reading. I mean, luckily, when we do a big film with an orchestra, I don't have to write myself. We have people to do that. So yeah, I think I got back interested in music again through electronic music after I stopped piano. And then when I started, you know, I think maybe you were a lot of people, I think are the same when you're 15, 16, 17. For my birthday, I wouldn't ask for a bike or a skateboard, I would ask for a keyboard.
I'm really curious about how was the change in the
it's nothing like it used to be. I mean, in the past, when I first started using Logic, it wasn't even called Logic, it was called Notator.
Okay, beautiful.
Yeah, I was a kid, I mean, I was 16, you know, it wasn't working really professional. It was a toy. But then, I think it was really Logic 4. It was the first one where it looks like what we
have now.
Where they first had plugins, sort of. Bad reverb, bad.
So you started with Logic, really earlier version of Atari. I started with 9 Logic, but because I have another DAW.
Yes. Me personally, I use Logic still. A lot of composers don't. Many of them use Cubase or Performer. It's more popular in the US than here. You know, digital Performer.
Never.
Well, it's another. Yeah, in Europe it's not so well known.
Yeah,
it's more common for film composers in the US. And even some now are starting to use Pro Tools. Some composers are starting to just work directly because MIDI has been getting better. I'm told. I use it myself.
I never tried Pro Tools.
I remember a few years ago, I was working in a studio with Pro Tools, and just to make a MIDI track, it was
I remember when I started playing music or something like that with, you know, I started recording some guitars and something like that, and I don't know, I'm so nostalgic about that stuff.
You know, it's funny now when I see people buying like old synths. I remember the magazines, you know, when they came out. And I remember when he came back from Japan in 1984. I was 8 years old, no, 10 years old, and he was saying, there's a new synthesizer, DX7 from Yamaha. It's going to change the world.
Yeah.
And then it came like 6 months later and it changed the world.
I have DX7 at the Arturia, you know, the bundle. And I love it. Actually, it was sweet. It's sweet. No, but I want to know something about your setup. How you do all. I saw that you have a lot of conventional, a lot of orchestral parts.
Yes.
How do you?
Well, nowadays it's gotten very easy. I think you can have really, I mean, it costs a bit of money for all the good sound libraries, but you can have a really convincing orchestra.
Yeah.
So, but it's using mostly Spitfire as the sound library. They don't have the budget to record the orchestra, so you just use that. And it's really good. It depends on what kind of music you're doing. If you're doing more impressionistic, atmospheric orchestra with like soft strings and that kind of thing, you can do a good job. But if you work in the industry, you can hear or you recognize the sound.
Yeah, absolutely. I recorded some strings that are real and use a lot of input, and you can feel the difference.
Yeah, especially nowadays, even if it's an orchestral music, we want a lot of the things we do electronically to be in the score. So we always have to export everything to our tools.
I know the drama, you know.
It's quite a drama.
We have some small studios in our space, our studio, and sometimes we use different software. So
it always has to come to tools.
I had a problem with when I passed from Cubase to Logic with the automation, because I think that maybe in Cubase that period automation was better in Cubase 5 than in Logic 9.
Sure, yeah.
Now it's better.
Yeah.
I think that it's better in Logic 5. I have an iMac that is a little bit out of date too, but it's very, reliable.
Yeah.
It's more than the other that is newer, but
yeah, look, you're working on like a big film.
Yeah.
You can't afford, if you lose something, you know, it's a big nightmare. Because the time is very tight. There's no excuse really, it's your responsibility.
Absolutely.
But now, we tend to work using Dropbox all the time. So every project that I'm working on is always, you know, so the only thing that can really lose is if the computer stops working.
Yeah.
You know, then you have to just fix that. But you don't ever lose the important.
It's a good solution, I think. Me too, I have some project in Dropbox, I have the upgrade Dropbox, you know.
I have a question for you. What do you think of the cinema music scene in Italy?
Beautiful, beautiful. You know, I really love the Italian cinema of 50s, 60s, neorealism. Everyone loves. So I really love Vittorio De Sica, Antonioni. Absolutely, I really. You know, I have a it's something that
it's
for me,
strong.
yeah, absolutely. It's Pietro Germi. When I saw the Oscars ceremony of that, I cried.
What year? Which year was that?
Pietro Germi. It's neorealism. He had Divorzio all'Italiana.
Okay, I think I know.
And I mean, it's say that now in Italy we have that level because I think that it's impossible. But we have some good directors like Sorrentino. It's good, I think, and he have a good aesthetic. Maybe something that is similar to that. We have some good directors like Paolo Genovese. I like the work of Paolo Genovese, and he did film last year. The soundtrack was very good.
Was it a music set, like songs or score?
Songs. Was songs written for the film.
Oh, okay.
So, and I think that he did a good job with that film. He did Perfetti Sconosciuti, something more French.
Perfect Stranger.
Yeah, he did. The director was cool. I think that, I don't know, we don't have good history except for Ennio Morricone.
Yeah, well, Morricone is obviously
American.
Yeah, I guess.
You know,
his career is more American.
Yeah, like Dino De Laurentiis.
But the rest of the world thinks of him as Italian.
Yeah.
And there's also Badalamenti as well.
Beach.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
contribution to-
but he too, he grew up in New York, I think too.
But I think that there's something that these composers really brought to the American culture that would not have come if they were not from Europe. You know, even now when I watch big, you know, a lot of the bigger things today are not necessarily films. They're big series like Game of Thrones or Westworld, that kind of thing. And a lot of the composers are Europeans that are working in there. Because I think that when it comes to cinema and TV, America, the LA Hollywood composer thing, really did have a lot of different styles in the 90s, 2000s. You had like Thomas Newman, who was doing that sort of beautiful, I think you remember American Beauty.
Absolutely.
People like Alan Silvestri, who was more in the style of John Williams, but more commercial. He did films like Contact, you know, Forrest Gump, Back to the Future, and his sound is the typical American pop film sound of the 80s and 90s. But nowadays, like further into the future, a lot of them are stuck, like now that we're in this age of Marvel comic films and that kind of thing, a lot, especially in big budget action movies and that kind of thing, it's really starting to sound the same. They're all really starting to, you know, and it takes people like even Hans Zimmer, obviously, who's from Austria. You know, you needed someone like him to sort of break the rules a little bit here and there. Otherwise,
I think that I understand what you're saying, and I think that maybe you know, when you hear something of Badalamenti, when I do chords at the piano in my home, and I did something that had that.
You instantly recognize.
Badalamenti.
Yeah, even when you play on the synthesizer and you find a certain sound, instantly you go, oh, this is Twin Peaks.
This is Twin Peaks.
Straight away.
It's one of my favorite.
And I miss that. I think that there's a lot of that using of sound and choices of sound as part of the language. It's more and more rare. Films like Arrival.
Sigur Rós.
Sigur Rós. I think Sigur Rós. They've done films too.
Like Wes Anderson, Aquatic Adventure.
I haven't seen it, but I think
that Sigur Rós did. I'm sure.
And I mean, I'm not anti-American at all. I think there's obviously a lot of originality there, but if you're working in LA, in the Hollywood bubble, in a way, it's much harder.
More business, I think.
I think so, and I think what they're looking for, if you're a big, you know, one of the 12 big famous composers working in LA now, what they're looking for is not unique. If they want unique, then they look for
European or somewhere else. LA director, something similar says you're European, you do cinema for passion, we did it for work. They said this, so I think that the music is the same. We did it, I don't want to say this, but I think that art and passion in Europe are more important maybe.
I think the priorities are a little bit
different. Obviously, if you do a great production, it's the same also in Europe. But I think that we have a lot of, we have a different history.
There's also one other phenomenon that is it's been around for a long time, but it's becoming more and more of a problem, which is that especially in films where they're expecting to make a lot of money, what they do is they do what's called temp tracking, which means that when they've shot the film and they start editing, the director and the editor will start taking whatever music they like from other films, like quite often it will be maybe Batman from Hans Zimmer, or whatever sort of film is roughly the style that they like, and they start cutting their scenes with that music. It helps them in the editing room because it helps them get the pace and
the rhythm, I think.
Yeah, but the problem is that it also means that they get used to that. And so when it comes to the composers, they're like, so do something like that.
Like that,
it's really a very difficult thing. And we've had a lot of fights where the directors, they don't quite realize that the reason why they don't like what we did is because they're used to the other thing. And we're giving them a demo, it's not recorded with the orchestra yet, and you keep telling them, look, when you hear it with the real full production, you love it, but now, you're comparing MIDI from an iMac to the London Symphony Orchestra with Hans Zimmer recording, and that's impossible.
I have a problem that is similar, I think. When I did a lot of production for customers, that just singers that ask me for a production.
They give you a reference.
Yeah, a reference, like I want something like that, and I say okay, but maybe you will ask to the people that did this, But I think that maybe it's a question for you. Maybe in your work it's even worse, because for me, I have something that is more, chords and something that is easy, not so characteristic. Because you need to put the voice there, so you don't have to
even if they want it in a style, it's going to be different anyway.
Exactly. I can take the BPM and the tonality, and it's okay. Then
you can go away.
Go away. For you, it's...
We do the same. I mean, because quite often, especially in action scenes, because they cut the action to the music that they use, we're almost always obliged to use the same BPM that they use. Which is okay. You use that as like a skeleton, a shape. We don't want to stick to the same key, obviously. But it does feel a little bit limiting, because they've already told you where the accents are. So you're right. It is in my industry. Quite often, one of two things happens. Either we do something which really does follow the structure that they put down, and we make it just by the fact that we're thinking differently, we make it a bit different. Or maybe 10% of the time, we just have to throw away what they do entirely and just make them just do something different. That's a little bit harder.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I think that we have that music is music, so we can have problems that are, quite similar. But and you prefer more cinema or music?
Oh,
for me, it's an art question.
Well, here's the thing. Okay, because I have a lot of friends who ask me. My friends stopped asking me, but a lot of people I meet ask me what music I like, what I listen to, what new things I know, and I'm the worst person to ask, because we're working all day in a studio on the same music over and over and over. Quite often I don't discover new things. Because you go home, you don't unless I go out or go to someone, go to a party or something, necessarily in the mood to kind of go home and listen to something.
Other music.
So I find that more my friends who are like graphic designers or architects, they have excellent taste. Music taste, and excellent culture, because they listen to it all day.
They
discover new things all the time. I mean, I'm maybe an extreme example. I know there are other composers who listen to new things all the time. Me, it's a bit tiring, so I don't necessarily... I think the thing about music is that unlike any other art form, or many other art forms anyway, it is, by nature, it is abstract. Because if you look at painting, for example, painting, it can be abstract, it can be just nothing, or it can be, paint me, music cannot be this.
Yeah.
You can never say I'm going to paint a glass. You can only ever paint a feeling, what this makes you feel like. Or
You can touch it.
No, you can never do that. So it's an experience. So I think, you know, if you, I think if you stop liking music, there's something wrong. Like you stop liking life. I think.
Yeah.
So,
I discovered a lot of music with films,
Sure.
movies. You know, a lot. So I think that you know, movies are more maybe complete. You know.
in a sense, yeah, in a sense, because they present a world.
Yeah, you know, I really love your job because I have a channel on YouTube that doesn't speaks about music, but we direct some sketch and
You make
sketch.
sort of-
Yeah, we did something like that. So me and one of my best friends, we have a staff that we
It's like comedy things, or
sketch comedy thing, and I really love to choose music for that sketch, and all the time I just give up to the monetization, you know, because it's okay. I know that
care, but
I don't care, but
it's too good.
yeah, exactly. So I really love to choose music, and I think that
Have you ever thought to to write something for one of the things? Or?
I did it.
Yeah.
Sometimes with my the singer, when I work with singers, I brought some pieces, you know, some songs for the videos. We did it sometimes because sometimes we need to work, you know, for some spot. And even this project is it's called Sampling and the Name of the City.
Okay.
So
I think I saw. Yeah, I saw
sampling Hong Kong, sampling.
Yeah.
So
I saw sampling Hong Kong.
yeah, exactly. So I try to catch, you know, the sound and feelings. I don't know, and try to do a instrumental, you know,
Nice.
just instrumental for. And so I try to, you know, to these days always rain. So you know, something very sad is. I brought something that is very sad.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting. Like, well, you mentioned comedy.
Yeah.
I've worked on quite a few comedy films recently, and also horror films. And
Yeah.
one thing that
I
I
saw
learned,
the horror film,
yeah,
I think.
one thing that I learned, which I didn't expect, was that there's more similarity between comedy and horror from a music point of view than you think, because obviously they're nothing alike, but the one thing that's in common, because when you work on like a more, say you do a more indie film, a love story or a true story or a life story or an action movie, that kind of thing, the music quite often, its job is it's a little bit separated from the narrative, because the music it's there and it has a job to do, but it doesn't really matter if like something goes a bit longer or a bit shorter, or you know, you're not very precise. Whereas with comedy and horror films, both have the notion of timing, which can ruin either one. Like, you know, with comedy, if you say a joke too fast, or if you don't hold the tension long enough, you can ruin. It's not funny anymore.
Yeah.
You know. And I've discovered that with comedy, it's really difficult. It's really quite hard that we can do something and just by moving it, you know, 2 seconds later, it's ruined. You know, or 2 seconds earlier, it's.
So you wrote looking at the scene.
Oh, we always do.
Okay, beautiful. I didn't know this.
Yeah, and horror is the same because you
Absolutely.
you
Timing is
timing, and also what information you give away, because you know, how many times in a horror film are you supposed to be scared because something comes that you didn't expect? So music, on the one hand, sometimes they want us to build up anticipation. Other times we have to be quiet.
I think that Kubrick explained it perfectly.
Yes.
Beautiful. Well, it was very. What are your projects for the future?
For this year, I just about to start a new Netflix original series which is
Produced in France.
no, it's produced between Berlin and New York. So it's in English mostly. It's based on a book, on a true story. Yeah, so it's partly set in New York and partly set in Berlin. So that's interesting. That's going to be
Challenge.
challenge. Yeah, I think the director is quite. We're not doing temp music, so we're doing. She really wants me to develop themes and that kind of thing. And also, they want us to work, make music before they shoot, because normally we do it after. But I like the idea of doing something before. What else? I'm doing working on a comedy film right now. It's a French comedy film which is actually funny, which I'm not used to.
You're not used to laugh at them.
Yeah. Normally with a French comedy film I'm like, but this one's really good. It's really funny. And then, I've got another film with a colleague who I sometimes work. I did a horror film with both composer. And the same director is developing a science fiction, like an American science fiction movie, which hopefully will happen this year. That'll be fun.
Good luck. Thank you very much for the
You're welcome.
interview. It was
It's good to meet you.
very, very good talk.